Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. First of all, I just want to take this time to say thank you to everybody who has been liking, sharing, and subscribing to my channel to support it. I know that it's a really small channel, but I have been getting a lot of support lately, so I just really want to thank you guys from the bottom of my heart. And secondly, I just want to say that I know that a lot of you guys are commenting or messaging me that you guys prefer me to read in my native language, which is Hmong. But I just want to say, when a lot of people send me their stories, it is actually written in English, and if I was to translate every single story, it's going to take me much longer to release videos for you guys. So I've decided that I probably will read most of the stories in the language that it is written to me, but do not get discouraged, okay? If you truly feel that your story would be better in Hmong, and if you really want me to translate it for you, I would definitely do it. So do not get discouraged and continue to send me your stories, all right? And lastly, I just want to give a shout out to Tongvu Remax Realtor for giving me permission to read this next story to you guys. He is a realtor here in our local Sacramento and Oak Grove. So if you are looking for a home, feel free to contact him at tongsalesrealestate@gmail.com, or you can find him on Facebook at Tongvu Remax Realtor. Thank you so much, and I hope you guys enjoy this next story. Grandma said the home was creepy. The other day, I was scheduled to show two beautiful houses in Oak Grove. One of them looked very familiar, but I wasn't sure if it was the exact house I was thinking of. And unfortunately, on this day, my left ankle was giving me a lot of trouble. You could say I was more concentrated on the sharp pain that ran up my spine with each painstaking step, rather than paying attention to the houses. Even though I was suffering from this pain, I just pressed on with the jobs to show these houses to a family that I had scheduled for that day. The first house was the one that I told you that looked very familiar, but I wasn't sure. As it turned out, I would find out later that this was the house I was thinking of. It was one of my old friends' home, who let it go into foreclosure a few months earlier. Because of the pain in my ankle, I didn't venture far into this giant beast with the rest of the family. I stood in the living room with the client's grandmother. We stood there and just stared at each other while the rest of the client's family explored the house. The house showed very well, but there were a lot of visible repairs needed in order to make it livable. There were loose hanging wires throughout the house, and the floors looked as if it had been damaged from a flood. Although the walls looked new, the home had a dark, creepy, and depressing feeling to it. It was not your normal giant where you walked in and you just have this exhilarant vibe of happiness and warmth. The grandma turned and looked at me, and with an expressionless and stern face, she said, "Luce no montaña yutaku." That was all she said. My client's family couldn't agree more. So on to the second house we went. It wasn't until the second house did the grandma finally open up to me. The grandma slowly said in a low tone, "I like this home more than the first one. The first home gave me a lot of creeps." And I couldn't agree more. But to lay this creepy feeling to rest, I tried to justify the reason to the grandma why it might have felt creepy, as it is part of my job. I told her it must have just been because the first home was much bigger than the second one. Although I did get a creepy feeling about the first house, I just chose to ignore it because of my ankle. I just kept thinking throughout the day, when I get home to rest my foot. I was more worried about the sharp pain from my ankle than paying attention to the surrounding. However, just letting you all know, I didn't lose my sixth sense, not just yet. Like I said, I did get this creepy and dark depressing feeling about the house, but my mind was somewhere else. Later on in the evening, I texted my friend and told her, "Hey, I showed your old home to my clients." And she asked me how the showing went. I told her the grandma said the home was creepy. The next text scared the wits out of me. She said, "Yes, the home is creepy. My late husband passed away inside that home." I knew her husband was sick, but I didn't know he died inside the house. She's never mentioned it to me. Eventually, she called me and told me the whole story. And this is her story. After my husband passed away, I continued to hear him call my name around 1 in the morning and telling me that he was hungry.
Go now. Go now. Go chai
At first, I thought that it was just my imagination. I mean, if it was just once or twice, then it could have just been coincidence, right? But to hear him call my name every night at 1 a.m., it really started giving me the creeps. Before my husband passed, he was bedridden. He couldn't walk, he could only crawl. And after he passed, I swear that I kept seeing him at the corner of my eyes, crawling around the house. And late at night, when I'm in my room, I can hear him crawling in the hallway towards the bedroom. Our bedroom door has this huge gap under, and I can hear when he crawls up to the door and lays his head down, and I can feel him looking at me. Now, those of you who had such experience knows that the person being haunted will experience a telepathy connection with the spirit. This person will see exactly what the spirit is looking at, and it was just like that. While I'm in my room, I can feel him staring at the back of my head. I can feel him underneath the door. And it's as if I'm seeing what he's seeing, and I can see myself. Every move I made, I saw it through a third person's view. I couldn't shake off the feeling. It was a terrible feeling. I was so scared. I was so scared that I started placing a towel under the door every night. I didn't want to tell my son. How could I tell my son? It would scare him. And that's the reason why I let the house go into foreclosure. It's not that I couldn't pay for it. It's not that I cannot afford it. But I just couldn't stand being in that house anymore. I'd never been so scared in my life. One of the cons of buying a foreclosed property is that the bank is exempt from disclosing deaths on the property. This is left up to the buyer to do their own due diligence about finding the history of the home. Although foreclosed homes may be sold for under the market value, sometimes it is better buying a home from a seller. Sellers are required to disclose deaths on the property within 3 years. However, it is unfortunate unexplained phenomenons or hauntings are not part of the disclosure package. This is where you may want to rely on your sixth sense. Alright, thanks everyone. I hope that you guys enjoyed that story as much as I did. The first time I read it, I was really creeped out. The second time I read it, I was still creeped out. Anyway, I just want to thank Tongvu one more time for letting me read his story. And as stated, if you are looking for a home, reach out to our man because he may be able to help you to avoid a haunted home. Alright, have a good night. Please like, share, and subscribe.